Welcome. Welcome to today's episode of the FanFic Critic, where I will be reviewing not one but two Little Mermaid stories. Both of them are rated M. It's not what you think. Let's put it that way. The first story is called Once Upon a Shore. The author, Serenity Sapphires. The summary. A reimagining of the scene where Eric finds Ariel as the mute girl on the beach. What if he recognized her as the girl who saved him and wanted to kiss her right away? It's rated M. It's in English, it's in romance. Has over 3,000 words, 11 reviews, 30 favorites, 7 follows, and it was updated back in July of 2021. The second story, Melody Sleepover. The author, TLGO3. The summary. Melody hosts a sleepover at her castle. What will happen when her friends show up and decide to have some naughty fun? Again, it's rated M. It's in English. It has 2 chapters, 1,100 words. 1 review, 2 favorites, 1 follow, and it was published back in March of 2021. Keep in mind, both of these stories, in case you forgot, are rated M. Let's begin with the first one. It opens up with Eric. He's unconscious, and he's having a recollection of what had just happened to him. The explosion of the barrels of gunpowder on his ship, him spiraling into the ocean, into the dark abyss, him being saved by this beautiful woman with this very, very beautiful singing voice. He can still hear her singing, even in his unconsciousness. But then when he starts to come to, he realizes that she is still there and that she is in fact still singing to him. He never wanted to let her go. The words she was singing to him were, "Just you and me, and I could be part of your world." He smiles weakly at this. And it does add a bit of dialogue here that didn't exist in the original film. He tries to ask who she is, and she says that he must rest. He then tries to get up, and she's like, no, you need to rest and lie down. He asks her why she saved him, and she's like, well, why wouldn't I? I couldn't just let you die. And he keeps gushing about how beautiful she is and about how marvelous she is. He goes to ask what her name is, and that's when Grimsby and his dog Max show up. She gets startled by their appearance, and she quickly runs off. And Max attacks Eric, not in a bad way, just licking him because he's happy that he's okay. And by the time he gets Max to stop, he sees that Ariel's nowhere to be seen. Well, the woman. We know her name is Ariel, but he doesn't. So he decides every day he's going to go to the beach with his flute, and he's going to play the melody of the song that she was singing to him until she shows up again. And of course, not too long afterwards, she does show up again. Max leads him to her, exact, and unlike the movie, he immediately realizes that it's the same girl that had saved him. She can't talk, obviously, and he doesn't seem to care about that. He's just happy that she's back, and he's like, oh, don't ever leave me again. And then he asks, can I kiss you? And she's like nodding, like, oh, yes, please do. And right when he's about to kiss her, that's when Ursula shows up. And Ursula's like, no, you're not ruining my plans. And she tries to drag Ariel away from him back into the sea. Eric's having none of that, so he starts to attack Ursula. And not just him, but Scuttle, Sebastian, and Flounder are attacking her too. Her and her eels, which they briefly show up and then they kind of go away because, Flounder's just slapping them with his fins, although they could probably easily kill Flounder, but I digress. For a powerful sea witch, Ursula is very easily defeated here. Like, they start smashing her with rocks to the point that she just kind of turns into, like, this purple foam and just kind of dissolves away. It was very bizarre. So, during this whole struggle, the seashell necklace that has Ariel's voice breaks, and her voice goes back into her body, and she's like, oh, I can talk again. And, Eric is like, oh, what do you mean? And she's like, oh, well, my voice, it was, being held by that sea witch. So they kiss, And she says, oh, the deal is done. And he's confused by this. So she explains that she made a deal with the Sea Witch. She would exchange her voice so then she could be human temporarily. And the only way for her to stay human permanently is that she had to have true love's first kiss in 3 days' time with him. And he's, not creeped out by this. He's just like, oh, okay. And so he takes Ariel back to the castle, and I guess Flounder, Sebastian, and Scuttle are just left there. We don't see them again for the rest of the story. So he has a I told you so moment with Grimsby. He tells the servants to treat Ariel like the future queen, which they do, and they pamper her and get her dressed and whatnot. And, it's back in their room, and Ariel's very happy to be a human and, saying, oh, I sacrificed so much to be a human. And she then goes to tell Eric that she used to be a mermaid. And does she go into great detail about it? No, because she just says, I used to be a mermaid. And then it just has 4 ellipses. And then the next scene is her saying, don't tell anyone. It was so bloody stupid. It's like, the story is like over 3,000 words, but it's very summarized. It doesn't go into detail at all. Like some spots it might go into detail, but not really. So, she's like, oh, well, I'll never see my family again. My father won't forgive me, but at least I'm with you, so I'm forever happy. And then she wants Eric to show her what it's like to be human. The sex scene is so bloody vague that I'm just going to read it to you. I'm just going to read it to you because it's just that bloody vague. Here we go. They were inseparable for the night. One thing led to another until the lovers were deeply embraced in each other's presence, loving and desiring, leading each other into states of pure erofa and bliss. Ariel melted into the mattress in the aftermath of ecstasy. Eric collapsed beside her to catch his own breath, beads of sweat running down his head, shoulder, apparently he only has one shoulder, and back. He watched the girl beside him, panting. They could only manage to smile at each other as they relished the foreign sensations throbbing through their veins. Moments passed, and the haze of pleasure soon faded as they finally met each other's eyes since their brief romantic escapade. And that was it. That was it. That was the sex scene. That was what supposedly warranted the story to be rated M. I mean, there's vague, and then there's this. This was so bloody vague. So bloody vague. But I digress. So Ariel makes a comment about, oh, so this is what it's like being human. So what are you implying, Ariel? That you sea folk don't have sex? That only humans have sex? How do you reproduce if you don't have sex? Do you have little sea storks that just deliver babies? I don't know. It was bloody stupid. So, there's not much more to the story after this. They just, make all these, oh, don't ever leave me again. I love you too, even though we just met yesterday. Okay, and that was literally the end of the story. It shouldn't have been rated M. It really shouldn't have been rated M. T. I could see it being rated T. I mean, some people might argue, it's like, oh, well, how Ursula died was a little brutal. It's like, yes, but not really. Not really. Didn't get graphic or anything like that, and the sex scene itself was just so bloody Right, let's move on to the next story. Melody's Sleepover. 2 chapters. I don't know why it's 2 chapters. It shouldn't have been 2 chapters, but yes, 2 chapters of pure stupidity. So, the story opens up with 18-year-old Melody. And she's in her bedroom and she's preparing for her friends to arrive for a slumber party. Ariel comes in and she's asking how Melody is. And she's saying that she's preparing for her friends. And she makes a note saying that she has snacks, like chip snacks and diet soda. This is isn't The Little Mermaid supposed to take place like in the 17 or 1800s? They wouldn't have had potato chips or diet soda back then. Okay. And it doesn't say that this is supposed to take place in an alternate universe. It doesn't say it anywhere. It doesn't at all. Like even in the summary. Melody hosts a sleepover at her castle. What will happen when her friends show up and decided to have some naughty fun? It should say decide. That's a promising thing when there's a bloody typo in the bloody description. But yes, not once does it say, oh, this takes place in present day times. Doesn't say that at all. So anyway, Ariel has to go meet with other princesses, and she whips out this weird magical compact that just teleports her to where she needs to go. And I don't recall that being a thing at all in either movies. So, Melody's friends show up. Their name is Allie and Jane. And even though they're supposed to be 18, they have the slumber party antics of, like, preteens. Like, you know, giggling, putting on makeup, being, like, playing dress-up like the little children. And then they play Truth and Dare. And, like, Allie is dared to call Prince Ben, and say that he's cute. Oh, yes, how scandalizing. So they do that, and the chapter ends in a way that I hate telemarketers, I really do. Sorry about that. Let's get back on with it. So anyway, the chapter ends where something naughty might possibly happen. I'll read what it says. So, do you girls want to have some real fun? Melody inquired with a knot smirk spreading across her face. You know, a knot smirk, not a naughty. They forgot the bloody Y. Allie and Jane devilishly giggled, and Melody clicked off the light. So this is probably where you're like, oh, this is where the M rating's going to come in. They're going to do some naughty stuff. And, you know, the first couple lines of dialogue imply just that. That feels so good. Alice sighed in a hushed tone. Oh, yeah, I love it. Give me more. Wendy groaned, licking her lips. Here it comes, ladies. Added Melody gasped. Added Melody gasped. Wow. Wow. That has to be the stupidest thing I've ever read out loud. Added Melody gasped. I guess Yoda wrote this story. So, Ariel bursts in and it's like, what's going on? And you think it's a deal that she walked in on Melody and her two friends doing naughty things to each other. Oh no, what she really walked in was that they were drinking non-diet soda. That was what? So yes, non-diet soda. That's all they were doing. They weren't eating each other out. They weren't massaging each other in naughty places. No. They were drinking bloody soda that wasn't diet. That's what they were doing. That's what they were doing. That's what they were doing. And again, this story is rated M. It's rated M. I didn't realize that drinking soda was mature. So, you know, Ariel confronts them about drinking the soda, but she's being playful about it. And she's like, okay, girls, time for bed. And they say goodnight, and then they all drift off into a happy sleep. And that's how the bloody story ended. And then the author note at the end. I hope everyone who read this story and got some enjoyment out of it. I hope everyone who read this story and got some enjoyment out of it. What type of sentence is that? I know some of you were expecting not erotic ending, but I thought I but a fake out twist ending on this story. So in other words, you literally wasted everyone's time. Anyway, if anyone out there has a story suggestion for me, just leave it in the comment section below. Here's my suggestion. Don't write any more stories because you clearly suck at it. You clearly suck at it. You do. I'm sorry, but you do. And please tell me, did this bloody person write any other story? Of course they did. They were 46 stories! 46 other stories. Oh, and they're all M-rated. One of them, Digimon. It says, warning, sexual content. I doubt it. I mean, I doubt it. Beach Day. Something tells me that most of these stories are probably all like, oh, it has sexual stuff in it and it doesn't actually do. I don't know. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. I don't care. I don't trust this author because of this bullshit that they wrote. Right. Would I recommend either of today's stories? Maybe the first one. Maybe. Only because it is slightly better than this, and even though it read like a summary, at least it was more serious. And you could maybe enjoy it. This story, though? No. Colossal waste of time. Such a colossal waste of time, and just so bloody stupid, and just bad. Just bloody bad. Right. I just felt like I wasted so much time on both of these stories, but at least the first one kind of was okay. At least it didn't have any grammatical errors or spelling errors, and then unlike this one. So yes. Well, I hope you all enjoyed today's episode, because I certainly didn't. If you did, please leave a like and a comment, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. I would greatly appreciate it. I will see you all next time. Until then, cheerio.